continuing our holiday gift-giving guides with our recommendations on game night games. Heavier than filler games, our game night recommendations are connected by the fact that they're all pretty easy to teach and on the relatively shorter side, making them ideal for when a gaming group might be getting together to play a couple of games in a sitting rather than one bigger, longer game. Let's get to it!
Mariposas is one of those games we fell in love with on sight, due to its dramatic color palette and beautiful presentation. Luckily for us, this game about the stunning migration of monarch butterflies had the gameplay to live up to its looks. In Mariposas, you will guide the migration of these butterflies as they move northward from South America to the milkweed-rich territories of the eastern United States, and then make the return journey. But as the rules will teach you, the butterflies who begin the journey of migration are never the ones who end it. Mariposas is a bit of a push-your-luck affair, as you will send your butterflies ever northward to more valuable territories, but should you fail to breed the next generations and make it back home in time, you won't be claiming any victory. Cards will drive your movement options, and where you land will give you the resources to breed, but the real strategy is figuring out just how far you can push your line of butterflies before you swing them southward once more. Beautiful and surprisingly tense at times, Mariposas is a sublime game that is absolutely worth finding.
Kingswood is a light family game with a bit of a clever twist on action selection. Players are trying to gain glory by moving around the rondel of locations in the village to gather swords, spells, hearts, and coins, which are the resources they will need to go into the woods to face down monsters and score glory. What I really like about Kingswood is the way the rondel itself works. There are 3 adventurer meeples that players will move around the circle to take their actions. But the cool thing is that everyone shares those meeples, and when you activate an adventurer, you can use the ability of the location wherever it starts and where it stops its movement. So every time you act, you're setting up a potential future turn, either for yourself or one for your fellow players. Kingswood has a variety of locations that get shuffled to form the village, and each player has a unique special ability. So for such an otherwise simple game, there is enough to go on here that repeated plays won't feel samey too quickly. While the rules aren't particularly complicated, we found that Kingswood was a good fit for a more relaxing, family-weight action selection experience.
Okay, remember when we said that these games were all heavier than fillers? Well, this one's kind of the exception that proves that rule. If you're in the market for a quick, light, super fast dexterity game, a game of cat and mouse is where it's at. It's a snap to set up, and within moments you'll be using your magnetic cat paw appult to send balls through the cat head partition to your opponent's side, hoping to score before they do. It's giggle-inducing in the way that only a dexterity game can be, and a game of cat and mouse is uncomplicated fun that will work really well for any group that cares more about frenetic action than any sort of deep strategy. Its design makes it easy to take on the go too, so you can enjoy a game of cat and mouse basically anywhere you can plunk down that box.
Forward to something kind of magical. Within this deck-building game of kids hanging out, making friends, and goofing around is not only some truly clever game design, but also an embracing of the theme that makes us nostalgic for lazy, hazy summer days, pizza parties, and that incredible childhood feeling of finding just the right group to stick with. Gameplay-wise, Fort is a great twist on deck building. You'll constantly be drafting new kids into your group, and each kid has unique abilities that let you build up your fort, gain points, and some of them even show up with toys and pizza. Depending on the kid cards you play, your opponents may be able to follow your action themselves, so you need to pay attention to what cards you'll use on any given turn. But look out, because if you don't play a kid from your hand, then other players will have the chance to recruit that kid away, because, after all, why would they want to stick around if you won't play with them? But don't worry, your best friends will never leave your deck. Fort packs a lot into its streamlined gameplay, and once your group is in the rhythm, the flow of the game feels awesome and the art is absolutely fantastic.
Nidavellir, in addition to being not the easiest game to pronounce, is not the easiest game to find here in the US, unless you do what I did and ordered it off of philibert.net. It got here in 2 days. Those folks are amazing. Nidavellir is a set collection game, and with a drafting element that has some really clever twists. Each player is building up their own clan of dwarves, with each suit scoring slightly differently, and every round you will auction for your turn in the draft. However, the auction itself is actually really interesting. Each player will start with an identical set of coins, which don't actually get lost when you bid them on each of the 3 drafting phases per round. But the coins you don't bid will get added together and upgraded, giving you higher value coins to influence future bidding. So, you need to assess the dwarves up for the draft, decide how badly you need to be earlier in the turn order, and also constantly be upgrading your coins so you don't lose the ability to win an auction when you desperately need to snag exactly the right card to finish a set. And the coins are worth points at the end of the game too. There are also a ton of specialist dwarves that can affect how you're scoring, making for really neat strategic choices throughout. Nidavellir is a unique game with a really cool aesthetic and really engaging gameplay, and I hope it finds a US developer soon.
Beautiful, elegant, and clever, 100 Tori from Pencil First Games will have your group expanding a garden by adding tiles to the shared tableau. The cleverness of the game comes from how you score points based on the number of tiles between landmarks on the tile you've just placed and any matching landmarks already in the garden. The hitch is that you only score points for the shortest route, and you'll want that route to loop through as many gates, or tori, as you can manage, so every tile placed represents both a new opportunity and a new challenge. With a group of helpful characters whose abilities can affect how you place and score, 100 Tori isn't heavy, but it definitely gives you something to think about between turns, while the turns themselves are quick and percussive, making for a pleasant cadence. And, as a bonus, for as much as we enjoy 100 Tori as a game night game, it also comes with a solitaire mode for when the group can't get together.
And so, there you go. A handful of games that will make great gifts to your favorite gaming group for game night. What are some of your favorite game night games? Let us know in the comments below. Happy holidays, and we will see you next game.